Yeah. All right. Well, until my team figures it out, we're just going to use the Q&A. And it's so good to see you and a lot of familiar faces. And even though we're familiar, you may not know much about my background, where I come from. And I'm only going to spend just a moment speaking about that, because my intention today is to bring a reset. And that is only done through awareness. So for myself, I've been teaching and facilitating nutrition for 30 years. I've been a competitive athlete all my life, was competing in the Junior Olympics at age 9. So nutrition, health, fitness has always been a really intricate part of my life. And spirituality has always been an intricate part of my life since I was 4. I had this crazy experience and came back into my body. And from that moment on, I realized that we are spirits. It was never a question of being a spirit embodied onto this planet. So the weaving of the two, my life, knowing I'm a spirit, oh good, we're all coming on, in this physical body, has created an incredible passion for me. An incredible passion about how the body is rendered and it works, and food. And it's so fascinating to me, and I'm always learning something new. So over the course of 30 years, it started in college, I was dancing and studying at Arizona State University, and quickly realized that dance was a lot more fun when I was really good. And to be really good, I had to be very healthy. And so that's where my passion and love for nutrition began. And there was this instant weaving of the spirit, because dance is really movement of the spirit in the body. So that began my journey. And over the course of working with so many people, one of the things I realized is that nutrition is so intimate, because it literally becomes the cells of your body. So you really can't get very much closer. And there's nobody else that can put the fork to your mouth. So at one point, I realized that there was so much information about nutrition that it was completely inundating. It's so much. It's like a rushing river from all sides coming into our ears, into our life. And this is good. And no, that is better. And no, you've got to do this and you've got to do that. And at one point I just stopped teaching nutrition, because I was like, wow, everybody is so confused. And how am I supposed to be supportive when I say, hey, let's try keto? And they're like, no, I only eat plants and we have to do it that way. Okay. There's so much polarizing. And it wasn't until recently that I started asking the question, why is there so much lack with all of this, when my journey is expansive and exciting and curiosity, and, the way that I do nutrition is loving and playful and fun? How can I bestow that? What are the questions I need to ask? What are the things that I need to know? What are the threads between it all? And really, awareness, specific, sharpened awareness. So what does that mean? Does it mean mindful? No, I really don't want my mind full when I'm thinking about what I'm eating. I lack and sacrifice and rules and this and that. And so many clients I work with think that, well, I've got the rules down, that's it, I've arrived. Does nature ever arrive? No. Nature is ever growing and blooming and blossoming and dying off and rebirth, and just this beautiful ebb and flow. Even though winter comes around every year, it comes around differently every year. So as we grow, we are little pieces of nature moving around. And as we grow, what we need grows. So how can I bestow that sort of awareness and intuitive living with nutrition? I'm asking myself more questions as I work with people. It is an intimate relationship with food. Intimate relationship with food. Oh yeah, I have an intimate relationship with my potato chips. Do you? Is it a healthy, intimate relationship? Because there's an energy that food bestows upon us, and we bestow upon them. So easily demonstrated in the Dr. Emoto's studies, where he bestows this energy and music and thought and intention on water molecules, and they shift and change and grow into this beauty. It's the same thing with your food. So I continued asking the question, what is one thing with nutrition that would work for everybody? I mean, somebody could say, oh, never have sugar again, never have processed foods. Yes, those things are definitely poisoning to your system, but there's underlying currents as to why people decide to choose those things. How does it affect our body? How does it affect our energy? Our energy turns into a pulsating frequency. How does that affect our life? For those of you who are already in the frequency world, how does nutrition affect that? And then as it blossoms and pulsates, how is your life showing up around you? Are you able to sustain these incredible high energy frequency meditations? Are you able to have stability with where you are? What is the frequency pulse around food? And then it came to me. Most of us decide the rules with nutrition. We say, yep, this is it, plant-based. Know this, know that, got it. I've arrived, we're good. I'm being a good person. And you go to eat and you fall asleep. You fall asleep at the wheel. There's not this reverence and harmony with what we're eating. Yet, think about the times when maybe man went out and harvested and foraged for berries, and it took 5 days to find all the berries. And when you got that bowl of berries, you were in harmony with it. When you planted the seeds and you cultivated it, when you grew the livestock and you cultivated it, there was a reverence for it. And there was a moment that you were with it. And as you're with it, if somebody started talking, if just Bobby started talking, you're like, be quiet, I want to be with my food. But now we have culturally set everything that food is a happenstance. And I feel like that is the thread that's important for everybody. Now I'm not saying that you need to go out and harvest berries and raise your own livestock. What I'm proposing is that you can have that same reverence for the food, even when socializing with your friends, because now socializing comes first, the food comes second. And I mean, if I asked you, like, what did you eat 3 days ago? Do you really know? Do you remember? But if you made love 3 days ago, you'd remember. And so pausing and really being with that will change the frequency between you and the food and you. And in turn, that creates harmony, and it creates harmony in your life. So know all the rules. You can, find a guide, find a nutrition guide, say, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that. That's really important and helpful tools. And with those tools, awareness, reverence, harmony. How do you choose the foods? Why do you choose the foods? What's your conversation? And more importantly, what is the frequency? What is the tone that you have when you're choosing your food, when you're with your food? That is my number one gift today and my passion to bestow upon you. So today is about top 3 things to having a spring nutritional reset in this 1-hour session that we have. And that is the current. That is something that is healthy for everybody. You can say you should eat meat. It's not good for this other person. You should eat plants. It's not good for this. It's so polarizing. Whatever diet it is, and everybody thinks they're right. And maybe you are for your body. Maybe you are. What's the conversation? What is the harmony that you have? Yesterday, I was getting ready to leave out of my house, and I was like, okay, I'm hungry. I've got to do this. I'm in a hurry. This happens all the time to all of us. And I realized in that moment, I was still able, that when I cooked my food and I was leaving, I paused and I had harmony with the food and then ingested it. And it assimilates so much better in our body. So it's a skill set. It's a practice. It's a practice that we do. It's a practice that I love guiding people through. And we're going to have a little more in-depth guidance for the 10-day nutritional frequency reset coming up. But before we get into that, so that starts on the 20th. And before we get into that, as we're creating the chat so that we could put links and things like that. Somebody's giving us advice. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So I want to talk about the guests and the people that I have on this call today. So why did I choose these two people? After I've just shared with you my passion and my intention with nutrition, because even, people say, well, how is it different? What is it different? That's what makes it different. And it's not psychology. It really is not. It's not about being mindful. It is about the energy and frequency that is in harmony or disharmony with what you're doing. So before I bring my guest on, this morning I was out trail running, and I had a vision of our spirit experiencing human as I'm running. I could feel it. I could feel it with the frequencies of the earth, and I could feel it through my spirit. And I was just so joyful. And I was thinking about all of you. And I was thinking about some of you who may have a relationship with unhealthy food. And what is that? Well, they're designer foods. They are created in the lab so that you have an addiction to them. And I was thinking about spirit coming down into this body and experiencing junk food and what that would do to this vessel. And there was something that was said today in our meditation about this benevolent, beautiful spirit of ourselves, our own timeless self, having this human experience. I'm getting choked up just talking about it, because we are given such a beautiful opportunity. This body is an incredible, incredible piece of machinery. And the more that we take care of it, it's more than self-love. It's like spirit love. And we are given this beautiful body to shine our spirit through into this incredible world. And the frequency that we have with our food is sacred. It's really sacred. And it doesn't take a lot of time. It takes practice. And then when you go to the tools, then when you go to keto or vegan or any of those things, all the frequencies change around it. And every cell, all your trillions of cells are vibrating at such a more harmony and ease, rather than constantly fighting off the poison that we put in our bodies. So rather than getting caught up in all the rules, I got all the rules. If you came to me and you said, now I've got these digestive issues and I notice when I eat this, this happens. I notice when I do this, this happens. And I really want to cultivate a healthier relationship. Great. We are in a world of resources on tap. So it's not a matter of not having enough resources or figuring it out. It's the awareness as to why you're choosing and seeking out the resources. So I hope that makes sense to you. I hope that is helpful and clear. So the first person I want to bring on is somebody that I have known for, 15 years or so. And Greg Geremesz owns Vita Supreme supplements. And our first conversation was me saying as a nutritionist, we don't need supplements. And he's like, step aside. Yes, we do. And his passion for cultivating organic supplements is really, really beautiful. Over the years that we've known each other, we have had nutritional nerd conversations. And so I'd like for him to come on and talk a little bit about his passion. And hi, Greg.
Hey, Alli, how you doing?
Welcome.
I don't have the same beautiful background that you have. That's a work of art.
Oh, well, thank you. During the time that I paused on teaching nutrition, because it really was overwhelming to have your clients argue with you, which I understand. It's completely understandable. You can go onto YouTube University, and it's going to teach you that everything you think is good is bad, and everything you think is bad is good. Yeah. So I became a professional artist, and then having a nice background of my own art is kind of fun.
Very beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I think it's really rare that people get to meet the formulator, and because you actually formulate the supplements yourself. Yeah. And design and create what goes into everything. So along with explaining some of that, perhaps share what your number one thing, what makes you different, and what you would like to, if people did one thing, what would that be?
Okay. Well, I'll share a little bit about my background. I got involved in nutrition about 22 years ago. And it kind of came to me because two reasons. My parents died young in their 40s, where if I knew today if I knew then what I know today, I believe they'd still be alive. And number two, I was in my early to mid 20s, and I was just tired and lethargic all the time. I was, I'm in my 20s. I'm supposed to be at the prime of my life and have energy, and because life is energy. And if you don't have energy, you don't have a good relationship. You definitely don't have good health. You don't do good in business or work or whatever. So health to me is the most important thing to start with. And in my 20s, I was searching for answers on why I was lethargic and tired all the time. And I came across this doctor, and I went to see him, and he ran all these tests on me and all these other things. And he came back to me at the end. He says, "You need to drink more coffee." I'm like, "What? Are you kidding me? Drink more coffee?" And I knew I was in the wrong place. So I started researching and doing a lot of reading, and I came across a book on fasting. I went on a 10-day water fast, and I had more energy than I knew what to do with. I was afraid to eat again, because I was like, if I eat now, am I going to be tired like I was before? Well, it just started me on the path of studying nutrition. I became passionate about nutrition. And now today I'm in my 50s. I'm 55 years old, and I play soccer 2 to 3 times a week. I do martial arts a couple times a week. I work out pretty much every day because I love it. And it's a priority to me to teach other people how to do that. I have a lot of friends that are my age that they're very sedentary. They sit around. They're afraid to do anything because they're afraid they're going to get hurt. They'll drop a pencil and pick it up and blow their back out or something. So it's very important to me for people to be able to stay healthy in their later years. And I've tried to be an example of that. I want to be able to play with my kids, play with my grandkids. I want to be able to run. I want to be able to do all these things as long as I can. In fact, I had a kickboxing teacher years ago. He was 69 years old, and he had these young kids come in and challenge him, and he would knock them out left and right. I'm like, this guy is 69 years old and he's amazing. It's like, how does he do this? So it led me on the path to health. I started my company about 22 years ago. And, the difference in nutrition really comes down to a few things. The quality of the ingredients, where the ingredients come from. Are they sourced in America, or are they sourced in other countries? The quality of the soil that the ingredients are grown in. So we make sure all those things are the highest level possible. All of our ingredients come from the United States. With the exception of one, which is artificial. It comes from the deep seas of Norway, because their waters are cleaner than ours. And over the years, it's been important to me to change our formulas as new science come out, as new information comes out, as there's more studies on certain milligrams of a particular product or a particular ingredient. And quality is so important to me, because if I want to make sure if I'm going to give you some nutrition, I want to make sure it works. I want to make sure it nourishes your body. I want to make sure it's the best possible thing that I can give you. And I'll give you an example of there's about 1,000 nutrition companies that open up every year. And most of them are selling on Amazon, and most of them aren't even located here in the United States. But years ago, I came across a manufacturer. And luckily we do testing. We do 12 different tests on every ingredient before it goes into a bottle. But I was talking to a manufacturer, and he said, we were talking about turmeric, which is a great anti-inflammatory and, one of the best ingredients on the planet. And he told me about a situation. He said, I brought in some turmeric from a grower. I tried a new grower, brought it in. It had been extracted. So all the curcumin had been extracted, which is the active ingredient to help with the inflammation, was extracted. So they were still selling it as turmeric to customers. And it just blew my mind that somebody's willing to do that. So there's a lot of companies out there that are they're looking for the buck versus the health aspect. And so we have a passion for high quality nutrition, high quality organic nutrition. And so that's a little bit about me and my story. Happy to have you all on the call today. Thank you to Alli for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome.
And the last thing I'll say is if there's one product, I think that was your last question. If there's one product everybody should take, I would say it's greens. We have an all organic, our product's called Supreme Greens. We've refined that formula over the last 20 years, and we think it's the best on the planet.
What if I don't like the way it tastes?
Well, it comes in capsules. A lot of companies, they'll put fruit or stevia or some form of sugar to make it taste sweeter. We don't believe in doing that because it changes the quality. It ferments in the bottle sometimes, and so we use all vegetables, grasses, herbs, grains that are very healthy. No sugars, no sweeteners. Put a little bit of mint in there to give it some refreshing flavor. But we have it in capsules as well.
Yeah, I know.
Same product, same ingredients as in capsules.
I keep those capsules in my purse. They're just, how many pounds of vegetables do you get in each? Like a couple.
Well, each serving has the equivalent nutrition value of 2 pounds of fresh vegetables.
Yeah. So when we first met, I actually wanted to see what would happen if I consumed like too much. And you can't consume too much. I didn't have any digestive problems. I just had a lot of energy and realized that I didn't need to be taking that much after like, I don't know, 3:30, 4 p.m. But when we're hungry, our body's asking for nutrients. It's not bored. It doesn't need something to do, right? You could really sustain. I've done cleanses just on your greens and water for 4 days, I think I did. And it was an incredible reset for my body because I was still getting the nutrients and everything. So yeah, the greens are really great. I'm a huge fan. I have been for over a decade.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like things that are easy, right? I like tips and tricks that are not complicated, and I don't necessarily have to be in the kitchen all the time. So sometimes when I know I need the vegetables and maybe I don't have the time, like the other day when I was running out the door, put a handful of the greens in my mouth. I don't even have to put water and stir it and that whole sort of thing. So it's not a matter of having enough resources. We have enough resources. It's the awareness and the frequency and energy around why you're doing what you're doing. Yep.
I agree
so
100%.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was still trying to figure out the chat.
Okay.
I'm juggling that. So I apologize. We're going to get it. And yes, thank you for all your tips and your question and answer and sending me direct messages on, enabling it. And for some reason, there's some layers. So that's fine. We're all here together. That's the most important thing. I can feel and sense all of you. So the reason why, I'm going to say the reason why I brought you on, Greg, is because of your passion and your, a lifetime of dedication. It's really beautiful. My next person I'm bringing on, there is a specific reason why I'm bringing Mas Sajady on. And one of the things that I've noticed working with people is that there's something above the mind in their patterns, in their frequency that they just can't quite touch. They can't quite get to. And he will be able to explain all of that to you a little bit more. And what I've noticed in today's meditation, so he's going to offer you meditation. He's going to talk a little bit about who he is and how he's just so kind. And what he does is so unique and special. Hi, Mas. And the meditation today is to offer the clearing of those patterns that may be getting in your way, because maybe you have the awareness, maybe you have the right protocol, and something still isn't quite working for you. Or maybe you just really want that reset and you want to change. And there are these limiting patterns, I see chat coming up, these patterns. And so thank you, Mas. That was his suggestion to do the meditation today. So for those of you who do not know who Mas is, this is Mas Sajady with XI frequency. Today, I have to say today's meditation was so beautiful. And what you said just resonates with everything that I teach with nutrition, of keeping this vessel clean for the, benevolent being that we've invited in to have this experience.
Yeah, absolutely, Alli. And a lot of people who are on a spiritual journey, or who are on that journey to help the world or help other people, what they do is they literally burden themselves. They forego their own mental well-being. This month's mental health. It's a mental health month, but they also let go of. They sacrifice who they really are. They sacrifice the body that they came into. And if you sacrifice your body or you destroy your body, well, what does that tell you? One, you're not honoring, what created you. So why should it honor you? That's one big thing. And then two, if you're sacrificing yourself, how many people can you actually help before you run dry? Right. So if you don't put any gas in your tank, you're not going to go very far, and you're not going to help a lot of people. So whether it's whether you're helping people through, say, success, with the next great big invention, or, you're a spiritual person helping people. Again, most people, what they do is they destroy themselves to help others, which is really a vicious circle, especially if you're trying to help your kids. A lot of people, they sacrifice their kids, themselves to help their kids, but then the kids basically end up sacrificing themselves or others. So again, it's that vicious circle. So yeah, I don't know how much time we have, Alli, but am I going to be talking about 3 things to embrace your vibrant and radiant self?
Well, the 3 things were each of us giving our top thing. So
Awesome. Okay.
I would love for yours to, if you still feel in alignment with doing the meditation, to help people clear that's what's beyond the mind. And maybe for some people, there are a lot of people on here that are not in the XI community that are just being introduced to frequencies and what that is, and how something like this meditation could shift everything and reset them from those limiting patterns.
Okay. Yeah. So again, those 3 things, to create vibrancy and radiancy, let's bring that into a meditation, and I'll talk about perhaps my version. Again, it resonates with, Greg's and your version as well. But for people who don't know me, my name is Sajady. I'm CEO and founder of Exponential Intelligence, which is basically a science that helps you figure out why your life is the way it is, and then help you reset it, change it from a frequency standpoint, like what Alli was talking. It's not in the mind here. Your mind, is it's delayed. So what you think about in your mind, again, really doesn't control you. How you create yourself, though, in this reality is what actually controls you. So your genetic patterns, your habits, your behaviors that go well beyond or well before your mind even, say, starts to take place. What most people do literally is they start to, they start to control their reality with their mind. So in this case, what people do is, in this case, people go, well, I want to be healthy. But being healthy, so you eat the right foods, you take the right supplements and so on. But if you have a consciousness or a master blueprint that you inherited, say, from your parents, that you go, well, I need to abuse myself, okay, because that's the pattern that you're running. So no matter your relationships abuse you, your career abuses you, your spiritual growth is again abusing you. So what we do is, when you eat, even if it's the proper nutrition, the best food that you can ever have, that food will abuse you. This is where people who exercise, for example, they become addicted to their exercise, or they start to become addicted to the foods they eat. They start to count calories down to the most minute, say, amount. And that's like an abuse pattern. So again, it's who you are is reflected on how you absorb your food. And that's really, really important. So this is the first in the series of meditations that we're going to guide you through in this 10-day cleanse with Alli. So this is the beginning for you. It'll help you reset who you think you are. Because again, if you have filters on abuse, or I'm not good enough, or I feel guilty, or I feel shameful about my body, and you eat nutritious food, well, there's a problem there. Because if you're shameful of, say, your body, and you're eating nutritious food, you'll regret being healthy. So it's those kind of scenarios that might not make sense logically, but we run those patterns. And how many of you, by the way, would be running those patterns, right? You eat really healthy, you do really good, but then somehow something always gets messed up. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And just notice where you are. And as a note, goes deeper than your normal meditation, called a hyper meditation, where I just literally help you rewire how you see that self-image of yours. Another breath in again. Just inhaling through the nose, belly breathing into the chest. Just starting to relax. You can close your eyes if you want, or you can leave them open, whichever way. It's all good. You're in control. And as I generate those frequencies that help you shift and help you transform, notice how you feel. Note that I didn't guide you into a meditation. I didn't use hypnosis, but notice how you're feeling. And then observe, especially if you're new, why your state, your mental state, your state of being, your psychology, all that changed for you. And notice that I didn't really say anything. So what happened? It's the frequency that you're resonating at. Take a breath in again. And as I take you deeper into understanding who you really are, without the filters that you've created, from experiences, your genetics, but who you really are. Noticing your chest. And we're just going to do a couple visuals here. Think of your mom. Just open your eyes, close it back up. Do you notice that an instant visual came up and then you had this idea or concept of your mom? Think of a best friend. And again, notice within a flash, your mind, although it goes much deeper, but in your mind's eye, you created a full version, complete version of your best friend. Very, very well-rounded. Think of, say, a famous actor that you might like, or a singer. And notice, although you might not know all their details, you create that complete version. Basically, your version of how you would see them or why you're attracted to them. Take a deep breath in. Notice your heels. And then the tip of your nose. Think of you. And again, notice what you saw. It could have been just a flash for some of you, the real version of you. And then you rewrote it from what I'm seeing in all of you, because I can read the group as a whole and individual. So again, how many of you saw that flash and you go, no, that's the version I want to hide. This is the version I want to display. And I can't see the chat, but in your state of being, notice if that happened to you. So that inner version that you choose to hide, perhaps a troubled child, troubled, environment as you were growing up, or even currently, when you're eating food, you're eating for that troubled version of yourself, not the image that you portray. Take a breath in again. Just observe yourself. For those of you who felt that version, that grander version, that you're not operating from. So it's like, oh, wow, that grander version, I just saw it. It could have been for a flash or like a euphoric or an expansive feeling for you, but you're not living that version. So take a breath in again. So for those individuals, there we go. You're always running towards a better version of yourself, but you can never accomplish it. So you're always like, say, chasing, if you're eating, you're always chasing the nutrition of what could be in that food. As you notice your spine, and there's other subgroups as well. Some of you kind of flashed in us like you hate who you are. So you create a facade. So when you eat, you literally are, this is where you might have addictive habits to poor foods. You eat too much or too little, or you're militant about your calories or what you eat. It's like, I only eat X and that's it. Or I'm on another diet, or I'm on another cleanse, or I'm on another whatever. It's that militant feeling. So you're punishing yourself, although you might think it's good for you. And then there's subgroups of those three. So as we take a deep breath in again, what if you could just clean the slate and create that self-image of your natural being, your limitless self, that didn't do anything wrong. It's not trying to correct something from a previous lifetime or this lifetime. You're not in sin. You're a being that incarnated in physical form, and it just wants to experience the world in its most vibrant state. What if that being, what kind of food would that being eat? How would it absorb the nutrition? Those who are on a spiritual path, it's like, well, the body is a place of sin, or it limits me to who I am, so I'm going to escape it. Again, when you're eating and you have that mindset, it doesn't work out well. So you created this body. It's an amazing piece of technology, by the way. We haven't even begun to scratch the surface of its possibilities. when you're eating in that mindset, where you're a grand being brought into this beautiful ship called a human body with amazing potential, can I help you rewrite that program to this new version, again, of being a grand being, exploring the possibilities in the most optimal ship ever? Or if you're more nature, the closest thing to Mother Nature as you can. Again, either way, what if I could help you rewrite that? So you look at your food, you look at yourself different, hence looking at your food different. Would that be okay for you? If it's okay for you, just take a deep breath in. By the way, you can always reverse it if you'd like. I don't know why you wouldn't, but again, it's free will, it's your choice. So if you'd like me to help you do that, see different possibilities, just take a deep breath in. You're just agreeing, going, yeah, I want to try that out. So take a deep breath in again. And allow that higher version to come into yourself. There we go. Some of you might like the feeling. Some of you might not like the feeling because you have to resolve some of those issues that keep you from being your best possible self. So just be aware of it. Okay? This isn't a mindset. This is a radical change of your identity at a very deep level. There you go. And as we end, breath in on the exhale whenever you're ready. Feeling relaxed, refreshed, complete, or if it is a detox, again, a detox is simply you've elevated yourself and you're starting to see all that stuff that has, say, kept you down. Okay. All right.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know it's different not having the chat
Yeah.
and relying
No worries.
completely on response from their frequency and their word.
It's all the same to me. It's all right.
Of course. That was really beautiful. That is what you worked on with everybody is something that I hear quite often. It's like I feel like I got all the rules and I know what I'm doing and I'm still gaining weight. And so there's something more than that. And
Yes.
Along with the presence and being with that, with our nutrition. Would you agree that when we go to eat, we fall asleep, even though we've maybe prepared the right meal and then we get in front of it and we go somewhere else, we're not really present with it.
Oh, absolutely. Because in today's society, you know, our attention span is so short. Back in the day, it used to be a tradition, or what do they call that? It was like it was an honor to create like dinner time,
Mhm.
and then people would, lay intention upon their foods to make it resonate with who they are. Back in the day, you farmed or you grew your own food, so the food would literally pick up on your nutritional needs and have that nutrition come from the soil, and it would feed you. But everything's so processed and it's been removed so far. It's kind of like, no offense, but like AI. It's very highly intelligent, but just no emotions in the background. So you could have the most nutritious food, but again, that loving nutritional value that we're seeking that pulls us together, that's missing. You can bring that in, and the meditations that we do, because you can actually create that within your own food, even if you bought it somewhere else, and your supplements, by the way. And there's
Yeah.
studies that we've done that have shown that. You're talking about Dr. Emoto, and I don't know if there's a link, maybe Faye can provide it, but they did some testing on me, and it was, I don't know how far Japan is from Minneapolis, but and we didn't have any physical contact, but it's like, okay, at this time you're going to meditate on these vials of water, and then we'll test it. And it was just amazing how they blossom. So we have that kind of power, not just me, but you all have that kind of power where you can literally set intention, not just like an intention from a religious platform, but your own presence of, what you're lacking. Okay. You set that intention, not like what I'm lacking, but, may this, this food be the best for me. And before you eat, it'll start to revamp its cellular structure for you, literally. And there's a lot of studies on that, by the way. And then when you eat it, it's actually nutritious for you, and it feeds the spirit, not just your vitamins that's missing. So,
Yes. That's that so eloquently explained. That's really my passion, and what I feel is different about what I teach with nutrition, because all of the rules and all of that stuff are just tools. They're wonderful tools, but if we don't have that reverence and harmony and dignity, and that I love the sacredness of eating, it is really a beautiful experience that does fortify our entire life, not just make you have a better butt. It's like, everybody feels your energy through what you're eating. And that's the one thing I feel is across the board for all humanity, that having that reverence with their food blesses it blesses you. And that's what I want to show the practice of. It takes practice.
Right. Absolutely. Well, like you said, a better butt. People want to eat for having a beautiful body, but they're not so beautiful on the inside, because they've ravaged themselves on the inside to have that beautiful body, and it's like, and you can see it, maybe at first glance, it's like, oh, wow, that person's, beautiful. But then you talk to them and it's like, oh, wow, shit, they've ravaged themselves to, and I work with a lot of high profile individuals, and it's like, they look beautiful on the outside. And then the thing with that too is that as they age, that distortion and abuse that they run their body through and their souls and spirits through, as they age really fast.
Yes. You see that in athletes, you see that in people who are just chasing that perfect body. And the longer they do it, the more just there's not a juicy, fulfilling vibration that comes from them. It is very abusive. And the strict, I've got to do this at this time and eat this at this time. And I've been there before. I've run those patterns before. And we don't need to, in order to have a fortified body and have a fortified nutritional, our bodies tell us exactly what they want. And in that like very precise awareness, today, there's like something I love to do before I go trail running. And today, just as I was going to do it, my body was like, you know what? Not today. Just drink a little water, go. Our bodies will guide us, but we have to clear up some of those patterns, and also the neural pathways between our gut and our brain, and some of the, So with the 10-day that we have coming up, there's going to be everything that the people that are on today, plus Dr. East Phillips, who is a acupuncturist and Chinese medicine doctor. She's going to be on. We're sending you all a bonus PDF. She's just a beautiful, incredible spirit. And she's going to be talking about some ancient and modern Buddhist ways to be present moment and experience ageless. And Moss will be offering 2 meditations. One is an initiation in the beginning, and the other one is a celebration, which is a bonus at the end. And you will get Greg answering questions for a full hour. So if you've ever wanted to ask all those questions that I hear copious amounts of on supplements, and should I take this and should I take that, you honestly don't need as many as you think. And I'll tell you that. And people just take so much. You can ask him all of those questions for an hour during the 10-day, and you're going to get daily me, lots of me. In videos, you can ask me all the questions. I'll have a full hour of Q&A. I will be on the call with each person. So this 10-day was really born from an intention of what we're talking about today. Everything that Moss shared, everything that Greg shared, everything that I have shared, to have a vibrant and radiant home for your spirit to shine through. And as someone who chooses healthy because I am healthy, that's, if I could just like take that frequency and bestow it upon you, it is such a beautiful, graceful way to experience nutrition and your body. And that practice really creates a beautiful conversation between you and your food and your supplements and your frequency and your life. I think that the world has made it far too complicated because everything's on tap. Everything is on tap. Now, information is on tap. And no matter, what we're looking in, curiosity, leading with curiosity, is going to be something that will fortify your life. When I studied and worked closely with David Wolfe, I will never forget, he said something to me that changed my course of nutrition forever. And he said, because he is the avocado guy, he's the raw vegan guy. I went through his school, all that sort of stuff. And he said to me, what's going to make you a very good nutritionist is that as you're going along this path, you always lead with curiosity and always willing that something you thought was so perfect for you, you're willing to let go because you found something else. And just like nature, we are always growing and exploring, and something that worked for me in my 20s doesn't necessarily work for me now. And it's this constant curiosity. What did I have today? What am I going to have later? And it's not a rule setting. It comes from abundance. It doesn't come from lack and sacrifice. I can't have that. I can't. Just notice your conversation and your energy between you and yourself and your food. And like Moss said so beautifully, it will cultivate something different for you. So in the follow-up email with the recording, with all of the, I can't get on chats, you'll also have some questions. I wanted this experience for you to be something that you could walk away from today's 1 hour and really feel like you were bestowed gifts, and invite you to come and join us for this 10-day experience. So it starts on the 20th and we're offering $100 off. So there's a couple of codes in the chat. And if you feel like really connected and you're really resonating with this, with me, you would like to spend some alone times, 20-minute consultation with me, then the next 5 people who sign up, I will gift you 20 minutes of a private session with me. And my team will timestamp. So whoever signs up for that. Greg, was there anything that you wanted to say before we're in closing?
Just that, the one thing I can say about you is you live what you talk about. And I've always been impressed with that. So
thank you.
Yeah. And
Thank
it's
you.
just that the meditation was beautiful, Moss, and this entire hour has just been such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to share, Moss, before we get off?
No, it's actually a very nice synergistic team, and that's, that flows through with the education that you're gonna walk them through in the 10 days as well, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you. It'll be fun because there's nothing more personal than nutrition. Nobody can put the fork to your mouth.
Yeah.
True.
No, nobody can put the fork to your mouth. And so I like to make it lighthearted and fun. I've always been like that, because it is such a serious such a serious subject. And we would really love to see all of you there. I think in closing, I would like to really give a special thank you to my team. We collaborate, and behind the scenes are some really, really beautiful spirits that I'm sure you'll feel in the energetics, the frequencies of all of the material that you'll be receiving. And, we're all going to take turns answering your questions. And I just ask that when you do ask a question, be concise. And if you want to share more of your health history, book a private session. That it's a lot easier for us to respond to everybody. So thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure. And as Moss says, notice what you notice and notice in details. Really think about what that is. Sharpening your awareness. And with reverence and harmony, we choose every bite. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Moss. Thank you, team.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful weekend and a happy Mother's Day tomorrow to all of the mamas. I think Moss is doing a special Mother's Day meditation tomorrow. Are you?
Not tomorrow, because enjoy Mother's Day, and then we'll do it the week after.
Okay.
So yeah, but Moss on Sunday, I will be talking about that. And you
Okay,
can
good.
join for free. All right.
Okay. Yeah, that's wonderful. And the last thing I want to say is that when you signed up, you could check a box to agree to sign up for all of ours. And if you didn't check that box, that's totally fine. If you would like individual emails, make sure you go to our site to sign up for that. So I'm able to legally send everybody the recording. And then if you'd like to know when you can meet me and see me in person, that's coming up. And I'll be sending all that out in my newsletter. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. Bye.